Good evening, thanks for joining us. You're watching the evening edition of News on 2. I'm Jessica Lee. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad says fairer and more genuine cooperation between developed and developing nations could help APEC member states to deal with technological disruption. He noted that only with a win-win concept among APEC members can the region chart a common and inclusive future in the age of disruption.
It is time that member countries of APEC and other trade organizations realize that in the age of disruption, a fairer and more genuine cooperation between the developed and developing countries can help member states to deal with the disruption.
The Premier also said that the challenge is how to ensure no one is left behind in the age of disruption.
What is worrying is not the strategy, but the speed it is required to be implemented in order to be effective. It is a new frontier, mostly still uncharted. APEC too will have to deal with this disruption, failing which it will become irrelevant.
The Premier said this in a keynote address at the APEC CEO Summit in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. Now, the government plans to introduce a module focused on computer and programming in every school in an effort to develop human capital highly capable in digital technology. Communications and Multimedia Minister Gobind Singh Dio said this new initiative of the Pakatan Harapan government is aimed at enhancing student interest in digital innovation that can lead them into a career in the digital economy in the future.
We will carry on with programs like this, but hopefully in the next 6 months or so we can actually come up with a system in which every school can implement studies which focus on computer programming. This is something that is a necessity. We don't have time, we cannot fall back any longer. We have to keep up with the rest of the world. And of course, when that is done, I will sit with the Education Minister, Cik Mazli, and we will discuss it and decide what to do. Okay, but it's still work in progress.
The Communications and Multimedia Minister further noted that he will discuss the matter with Education Minister Dr. Mazli Malik. Earlier, Gobind Singh, who is the MP for Puchong, launched the Digital Maker Hub of Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan Tamil SJKT FES Serdang in Selangor. SJKT FES Serdang is one of the 22 My Digital Maker champion schools empowering digital manufacturing in schools. On another note, the proposal from Education Minister Dr. Mazli Malik that telecommunication companies should sponsor reading campaigns will be considered. Gobind said his ministry is ready to create a policy in regards to the matter if needed.
Sekiranya kita perlu kerajaan boleh memutuskan satu polisi yang baru di mana setiap telco ini perlu mendukung polisi tersebut untuk membawa ke depan tabiat baca dan sebagainya, itu tak ada masalah.
Earlier, Dr. Mazli was reported saying that the government would approach local telecommunication companies to get sponsorship for the National Reading Campaign. The Education Minister sarcastically commented that these companies should be punished for their crime of isolating the people from the reading habit and making them mere readers of WhatsApp messages. The investigations into the One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB case is expected to be fully completed in another month or two. According to Deputy Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Nur Rashid Ibrahim, right now, the police were in the midst of preparing the investigation paper by compiling all evidence, including from former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak and his wife, Datuk Sri Rosmah Mansor, into an investigation file before handing it over to the Attorney General for further action. Tan Sri Nur Rashid also said that every week, the Special Forces investigating the case will hold a discussion before deciding on the next course of action. He also said the investigations are running smoothly and police will conclude their investigations into the case very soon.
Kita akan panggil apa yang ada kaitan dengan yang kita rasakan perlu untuk menjelaskan apa juga perkara yang timbul, kita akan panggil dan dapat penjelasan. Okey.
The Deputy IGP further noted that the police would also call several other individuals from companies linked to 1MDB to give their statements. Meanwhile, the Royal Malaysian Police, or PDRM, is conducting a detailed study on the rise of early retirement trends among its officers and personnel in the past 5 years. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Muhammad Fuzi Harun said in addition to health problems faced by them or their families, work stress is also a reason for early retirement.
Ada juga yang membuat persaraan pilihan sendiri kerana dia kata tekanan kerja tu amat tinggi. Ini yang dimaklumkan, dilaporkan kepada saya dan saya sendiri menduga sebahagian daripada mereka ini dan mereka pattern tu hampir sama. Workload yang amat tinggi yang mereka tak boleh nak cope up. Jadi kadang-kadang isu-isu logistik juga menjadi tekanan kepada mereka. Misalnya kalau OCS yang berpangkat saja Major Inspektor yang ASP ni, keperluan-keperluan basic itu tidak disediakan.
Tan Sri Muhammad Fuzi said this in a press conference held after officiating the parade and Sergeant Inspector and Cadet Sergeant Basic Course Certificate Presentation Ceremony at the Police Training Centre, Pulau Pol in Kuala Lumpur. Tan Sri Muhammad Fuzi said a total of 500 to 3,000 PDRM officers and personnel retirees when they reach the mandatory retirement age. PDRM hopes to recruit around 7,000 new officers and personnel beginning next year to fill the positions of those who have opted for early retirement. The Education Ministry today dismissed news about a leak of the Bahasa Melayu, Mathematics and Chinese language test papers of the ongoing Sijil Pelajar Malaysia or SPM examination. Its examination board in a statement said that it has conducted investigations into the complaints received on the matter and gave assurance that there is no need for candidates to resit the papers. The Education Ministry also urged parents not to worry as the examination is being conducted in accordance with the guidelines of the board under the supervision of the State Education Departments and District Education Officers. The board further advised the people not to spread fake news, saying this can adversely affect the focus and emotions of the examination candidates and their parents. The SPM 2018 examination began on 13th of November and is scheduled to run until 13th of December. Kota Tinggi Police has solved the cable theft incidents in the district with the arrest of a man and the seizure of 3 gunny sacks of cables worth around 10,000 ringgit. District Police Chief Superintendent Ashmon Bajan said his team raided a house in Tanjung Sedili at 7:30 p.m. last night and arrested a man in his 20s along with the sacks of cables cut and uncut. The suspect and the seized cables were brought to the Kota Tinggi Police Headquarters for further investigation. According to Superintendent Ashmon, with the arrest, police also managed to solve at least 15 cases of cable thefts from Maxis's telecommunication towers involving a loss of 23,000 ringgit. The case is being investigated under Section 448 of the Penal Code, which carries a maximum jail sentence of 3 years or fine of 5,000 ringgit or both upon conviction. A total of 516,510 ringgit in fines were collected by the Pulau Pinang Traffic and Public Order Department within 7 hours of the opening of the summons discount counters at Queens Bay Mall by Lepas in Pulau Pinang. Department Chief Superintendent Wan Shahrudin Wan Omar said a total of 7,110 summonses were settled by traffic offenders yesterday. Superintendent Wan Shahrudin said the highest amount were collected from speeding, the use of mobile phones, vehicle modification, not wearing a seatbelt, and parking offences. He added that the overwhelming response was due to the discount of up to 50% offered beginning 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the Second Bridge Solidarity Fund Ride PDRM 2018 program. The discount involved various traffic offences except for accident-related summonses, offences during Ops Selamat, summonses which have been blacklisted in 2018, non-compounded summonses, summonses that have been brought to courts, and summonses involving heavy vehicles. Now, Kedah remains firm in its decision to reject the ratification of the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, or ICERD, as the country's existing policies had already created a peaceful environment. A State Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Mukhris Mahathir said this is because the Federalist Constitution and the Kedah State does not discriminate anyone.
Itulah kita persoalkan apakah perlu kita sekarang ini menerima satu dasar yang datangnya daripada luar negara yang mungkin akan membuka ruang kepada kaum-kaum yang lain yang akan merumitkan keadaan kita. Jadi itu sebabnya kita membuat keputusan untuk menolak ICERD di peringkat negeri Kedah.
Datuk Seri Mukhris said this after officiating the Royal Malaysian Navy Association, or PBTLDM, conference in Alustar, Kedah. The state government at the function contributed 50,000 ringgit each to the central and state PBTLDM. The donation is to ease the burden as well as to safeguard the welfare of those who have sacrificed for the country's sovereignty. Parti Keadilan Rakyat, or PKR, needs to remain as party which champion the people, holding steadfastly to the reform agenda and idealism after having been given the mandate to form the government. In what is likely to be her final presidential speech, PKR President Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said, as a reformist party, PKR should be different from the regime which they had previously opposed and introduce new and better approaches and practices. Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah also urged members to remain as reformists to champion the people's rights in line with the party's struggle since its inception in 1999 and the beginning of the reform movement in 1998.
Jangan sampai rakyat meneblak sama saja dengan dulu. Jika ini berlaku, sungguh malang perjuangan dan pengorbanan kita semua selama ini. Buktikan kita lebih baik. Buktikan keputusan rakyat menyokong kita adalah tepat. Buktikan kita mampu melaksanakan amanah dengan berkesan dan rakyat merasai kehadiran setiap kita dalam masyarakat.
The PKR president said this in her policy speech when opening the party's 13th National Congress in Shah Alam, Selangor. Moving forward, she said she wants the new leadership lineup to focus on the political aspects, discipline and education, as well as to immediately carry out party leadership training at the branch, wing and top levels. The name of PKR Pandan Division Chief Muhammad Rafizi Ramli has been brought up as a possible candidate for the possible Rantau state by-election in Negeri Sembilan. Now, PKR President-elect Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, however, noted that Rafizi was far more qualified than anyone to contest a state seat.
Yes. I mean, nothing is definite for now. Why you are proposing anybody? Oh, you want me to be an adun? I'm sure he is more qualified than that. Ada nama Rafizi dipanggil.
The Special Election Court ruled yesterday that Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan's unopposed victory in Rantau in the 14th general election is null and void and that a by-election should be held immediately. Datuk Seri Muhammad, who is UMNO Deputy President, was declared the winner after PKR candidate Dr. S. Setaram was denied entry to submit his nomination form on the 28th of April because he had no pass issued by the Election Commission or EC. Parti Amanah Negara, or Amanah President Muhammad Sabu, says he has no qualms if the Prime Minister decides to reshuffle the cabinet. However, he added that as far as he is concerned, he was satisfied with the performance of ministers from Amanah. Muhammad Sabu, who is also Defence Minister, said he has yet to hear personally from Tun Dr. Mahathir about the issue.
Saya tidak dengar apa-apa lagi. Saya pun baru dengar pada wartawan daripada you ini. Itu serah pada Perdana Menteri. Kita akan berusaha meningkat hari-hari. Sebab masa sekarang kita happy tapi kena tingkatkan lagi.
Muhammad Sabu said this on the sidelines of the 13th PKR National Congress in Shah Alam, Selangor. Federal Territories Minister Khaled Abdul Samad denies claims that Stormwater Management and Road Tunnel, or SMART, has failed, adding that if that was true, the capital would have been inundated by floodwaters during heavy rain. Khaled said the public's confusion on the tunnel's function was believed to have been due to the recent case of a car trapped in a tunnel during heavy rain, which went viral on the internet. Commenting further, Khaled said among the causes of flash floods in Kuala Lumpur presently is the increased number of development projects. This, he said, makes it difficult to ensure the cleanliness and maintain good condition of the drainage system.
So dengan adanya smart tunnel itu, maka ianya dapat mengurangkan dengan banyaklah masalah banjir itu, tetapi kadang-kala bila hujan yang terlalu lebat, aliran air itu tersekat, bukan kerana tidak ada smart tunnel ataupun tidak ada sistem saliran yang baik, tetapi oleh kerana peparitan itu tersumbat dan sebagainya.
Khaled explained that Smart Tunnel operates in 3 stages, where in the early stage, during normal or medium rain, water can flow and cars can go through the tunnel at the same time. In the next stage of heavier rain, 2 levels of the tunnel are still accessible to vehicles as water flows underneath. However, in the case of very heavy rain, the authorities will prevent cars from entering, and the whole tunnel is then used to let water flow out to the lake to prevent flooding from becoming worse. The Ministry of Rural Development aims to produce an additional 10% of rural entrepreneurs who are able to penetrate the international market on a large scale. The ministry's plan also covers about 8,000 entrepreneurs from 83,934 existing entrepreneurs. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Rina Mohamed Harun, said the initiative was devised to help rural entrepreneurs master relevant technologies to improve their product quality.
Nak supaya usahawan-usahawan desa ini dia bukan hanya berjaya di peringkat kampung negeri ini saja, tapi kita nak bawa dia sampai boleh ekspor hingga ke luar negara. Jadi dalam kita nak menyediakan usahawan ini dan usahawan desa ini untuk mereka menjadi pengeksport ke luar negara, sudah pasti dia kena mematuhi piawaian yang telah ditetapkan. JMP, HSCCP, persijilan antarabangsa dan sebagainya.
Datuk Seri Rina said in order to achieve this, various platforms have been prepared, which include provision of schemes from Majlis Amanah Rakyat or MARA, Lembaga Kemajuan Johor Tenggara KEJORA, and the cooperation with other ministries. She added that improvements will also be made on the Village Community Centre to train entrepreneurs to improve the quality of their products to ensure a wider market. She said this after officiating the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Expo at the Melaka International Trade Centre MITC in Ayer Keroh, Melaka today. The Johor State Government will provide 200 ringgit for the children of taxi drivers and rental cars to help them prepare for the new school term next year. State Work Infrastructure and Transportation Committee Chairman Mazlan Bujang said the initiative is part of the government's efforts in reducing the burden of taxi and rental car drivers in the state.
Akan lancarkan tabung untuk bantuan anak-anak pemandu teksi yang kita tahu bahawa sejak kebelakangan ini pendapatan mereka amat turun mendadak.
Speaking in Johor Bahru today, Mazlan said to date a total of 300 applications have been received. However, he hopes that the amount will increase. Application forms can be accessed through www.paj.com.my or can also be collected at the Johor Transport Corporation's office, PAJ, and must be returned latest by 30th of November. Meanwhile, when asked to comment on the announcement made by the Menteri Besar, Dato' Osman Sapian, on conducting forensic audits of all government-linked companies, he said that he supports the decision. He added that the move will determine the reasons for some of their debts and duplications in business. Now, Vietnam stopped Malaysia's winning run in the AFF Suzuki Cup after goals from Nguyen Chong Phong and Nguyen Van Duc gave them its second win at the My Dien Stadium in Hanoi, while Malaysia heads back to Kuala Lumpur with its first defeat. Harimau Malaya dominated proceedings with intricate passes and enterprising play, but they were stunned in the 10th minute when Vietnam scored against the run of play. A miscue shot from Nguyen An Duc found Nguyen Chong Pong, who calmly slotted the ball past goalkeeper Khairul Fahmi Chepmat. Malaysia continued to hold the majority of the possession, but they could not find a way to get past the Vietnamese defence, which maintained a patient approach throughout the match. Harimau Malaya continued to dominate in the second half, but the Golden Dragons were tactically resolute and frustrated the Malaysians with their efficient zonal marking. Vietnam's patient approach paid off when, against the run of play again, a beautiful through pass from Pan Van Duc found 33-year-old striker An Duc, whose cool finish gave Vietnam a 2-0 lead in the 60th minute. The scoreline remained at 2-0 until the final whistle. Malaysia will need to win against Myanmar at the National Stadium in Bukit Jalil, Kuala Lumpur on the 24th of November to book a place in the knockout stages of the tournament. And that concludes this evening's edition of News on 2. In our top story, APEC risks irrelevance if technological disruption not dealt with. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for our evening bulletin. Tomorrow will be early at 4:30 p.m. to make way for the live telecast of the MotoGP Grand Prix of Valencia right here on TV2. I'm Jessica Lee. Have a pleasant evening.